I'm Ed Kelly, editor of The Oklahoman. 9 months into his presidency, Barack Obama is named winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, a surprise to many, including those in his own White House. To talk about the fallout and the reaction is Chris Castile, chief of The Oklahoman's Washington Bureau and a frequent contributor here on News OK TV. Chris, what does the Nobel Prize do for the president politically, both in this country and around the world?
Well, Ed, I'm not sure it helps him get the public option in the health care reform bill, and I'm not sure whether it helps him with nuclear negotiations in Iran and North Korea, or with the Taliban in Afghanistan. I don't think it's a knock against the president at all to say that this award seems to be more in anticipation of what the president may do in the future than for anything he's done in his short time in office. It seems to run somewhat counter to the tradition of Nobel Prizes, which I thought were awarded for bodies of work in the past, and this seems to be it kind of reminds me to some extent of the strong emotions during the campaign last year and around the inauguration this year of how people projected upon Barack Obama their hopes for change.
Right.
And this just seems to be kind of in line with that, and again, I think the president himself was probably surprised by receiving it, and I'm not sure it even helps him politically at all. I mean, he may almost wish that he hadn't received it because of the expectations now that he has to meet.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now you've talked to some members of Oklahoma's congressional delegation. What has been their reaction to this story?
Well, they've been fairly restrained. Even Senator Jim Inhofe, who hasn't always been restrained in his comments about Obama. But I think their feeling is that Senator Coburn actually used this word, that it's premature. Right. Senator Coburn, as you know, is actually a personal friend of the president and said he plans to send him a note congratulating him. But he actually doesn't really understand this and asked me, what is it that the Nobel Peace Prize is supposed to be for? Is it just for a shift in tone or direction? And he just doesn't really understand. If President Obama receives the Peace Prize, what does the Peace Prize stand for? And he's not being critical. I think he's being curious.
Sure. And
Senator Inhofe's take on it was that it was a reward for what Inhofe perceives as a de-emphasis on national defense by President Obama. The senator ticked off a few program cuts, the F-22, Future Combat Systems of the Army, C-17. Now, those, I think, are debatable, since those were policy debates long before President Obama came in. He also mentioned the president's decision to cancel the missile defense program in Poland. So to Senator Inhofe, it's this committee, Nobel Committee, rewarding the president for de-emphasizing defense over outreach to other countries.
Right. Well done, Chris. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Ed.
There's plenty more to this story, so go to newsok.com and The Oklahoman.